Good evening, everyone. My name is Shauna Graham. I am from Group 8. This evening, we are going to discuss the element of critical thinking. Our members are
Alicia Hines Williams.
Nicola Mackenzie Wright.
Honorary Miller.
Okay, good evening again, everyone. Ms. Williams, tonight we're discussing an email sent by a student who had decided that he's going to fail all his course and quit school 2 weeks before graduation without getting a degree. What is your take on this email?
Well, in relations to reflection, the author of the email expounded on his reasons for no longer needing a degree based upon the findings that a degree might apply limits to his achievements and happiness. And through confidence, peace, love, emotional intelligence, mental stability, and passion, and full acceptance of life itself, the author decides to move forward with what he believes. So in support of my claim, the author states, I finally understood how leadership happens and fearlessness actually works. All one needs is confidence and empathy. He further states that doing what he loves is based on mental peace. Secondly, the author sees life as taking the leap over fear. To him, life is a lesson, and it is fine to make mistakes. However, it is important to learn lessons from your mistakes and failure. In the email, the author shed light on lies and how it damages one's mental status by generating fear in place where there is no space for it. He further adds, as human, we are not our own enemies. He refers to our own enemies as cancer, global warming, hunger, and homelessness. For factual reference, the author pens, I am literally fearless. Every failure and mistake is just a lesson. Do you realize when you lie, you create fear in your head that the one you lie to might finally find out? On the level of how I analyze this passage, is that within the email, the writer takes the opportunity to put in reality with his thoughts and his emotions, and that was hidden over the years. So over the years, he placed his parents' dream for him before his own. So he finally come to grip with it and said, all right, my personal dreams and aspiration is over my parents. So to move forward, he has to take it into consideration how he feels and what he wants for himself. So what his decision didn't suddenly come, quitting university didn't suddenly come overnight. It was carefully thought and evaluated, and he analyzed his alternative. The writer identifies his place before he decides to announce the decision to quit. The writer recognized his own meaning to life, firm believes his potential to become an entrepreneur, and having a degree will not contribute to his success. The writer seems to have motivating concepts on how to overcome fears while building confidence. However, his actions were based on successful people and celebrities. It is thought-provoking, in my opinion, that as how someone could have given much thought to so many things listed in the email, but didn't take into consideration his plan to take care of himself financially and find ways to fund his business. He's financially broke, and without proper funding to build a business, there is little to no chance for success. Mrs. Mackenzie, over to you. What's your take?
Thank you, Miss Williams. Yes, I do believe that the writer's email was structured, and why I'm saying this is because there was a sequence in which he placed his arguments. He had a sequence in it, and also the way he presented it, it was convincing. Right? The writer seemed to have put some thought in it. I agree with you, as you had said that he had placed a lot of thought in the decision that's about to make. And so I believe that arguments were structured. The flow that he presented it in was in a structured format. And also, the author also used the form of debate to further convince the readers that he knew exactly what he was getting into. He was not afraid of failure. For example, he had stated at one point that he said this: "Are you afraid of failure? What? Why? What does that even mean?" To me, this is telling me that whatever he will face in the process, he is not afraid to deal with what is coming, right? That is my opinion, right? Also, another element is that acquisition of information as it pertains to him acquiring his business. I don't believe that he had enough information to support or to state then how he's going to go about doing it. First and foremost, he had stated in the passage that he only had $500 in his account. One, to register business is $3,500 now. And if you're going to go through, for example, the company called Source on our end, Source charges $2,500 for their service and $3,500 to register the business separate, right? So just the beginning to get the business registered, he did not have enough money to step forward in doing his plan. So the acquisition of information here, in as it pertains to him starting his business, I don't see a lot of information on that part of it. Miss Graham, what is your take on the email?
Good evening again, everybody. Before I get into my take, Miss White, you mentioned debate, right? All right. If you in your observation, you feel that there's an aspect of debating in the email, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did it affect you as a person based on the start when
Oh, yes, forgive me, Miss Graham. To be honest, the debating, that format, it was convincing. Mentally, it worked, it played on my mind. It had me thinking. I'm telling you, at one point I was totally convinced that this person was doing the right thing. Psychologically, he played on my mind. The email played on my mind. But when I get back to myself and say, listen, no, you have to be more logical. You have to have more stable grounds in which stepping out of something that would give you an edge to obtain something else. You have to have a more stable ground. For instance, I must have in my position then or in my account at least a 500,000 to kick me off. Or I have some business partners who has decided, listen, I'm gonna partner with you, and so we're gonna get this thing on the road. So I had to the debating format of it really got me thinking and saying, listen, you know what I talk about, you know what I talk about. When we go about degree, you don't need degree to start business. But I had to come back to myself and say, no, 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 no. No, he needs to take a step back and think again. But it was convincing. The debating part of it, mentally, it played on my mind. It did.
It was thought provoking.
It was thought provoking. Thank
All
you.
right.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. All right. So Ms. White, you asked me my opinion. In my opinion, it is clear the writer did not apply the use of critical thinking in the decision process. All right, for him to just get up 3 weeks or 2 weeks before graduation to quit school before even getting his degree, for me, doesn't make sense. There wasn't much thought put into the decision, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
This is evident based on the fact that there was no actionable conclusion. He had nothing in place to say where he's going to go next, what he's going to do. There was no plan in going forward. And if you're going to make a decision, you must have a plan. You must think about it logically and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So there was no plan, right?
Right.
For example, all right, as you guys have said before, you guys said it, Ms. Williams has said it before, and you have said it before. Financial stability, it is important. This individual only have less than $500. He can never buy KFC. He could buy a patty. He could buy a meal deal. I'm like, and he's like, oh, mommy, don't forget me. Because I'm still gonna need to live with you, right? And then
That's right.
exactly, and then furthermore, right? All right, if you're going to make a decision like this, you have to think logically, right?
Right.
Right, and based on information in the email, there was no logics to the writer's way of thinking. Enable accurate predictions. Him couldn't say when, how, where. When we gonna start, how we gonna start, where we gonna start. There was nothing there. So in my opinion, there was no clear-cut thought put into the decision making in this so-called pursuing the idea of a self-made entrepreneur, right? But however, I must say he was committed. He was committed to this dream of becoming a self-made entrepreneur to the extent where he decided that he will leave school because he doesn't need any escape from his dream. He doesn't need any safety net, right? He doesn't need any backup plan, and he sees a degree as a backup plan. So he decided that, look here, I'm going to defy the odds. I'm going forward. I'm going to pursue my degree, and I don't need no safety net. So guess what? I'm cutting my loss because, in my opinion, a degree is a waste. Why do I need it? If I work hard, I'm not lazy, I can do it. Other person have done it before, right? So it was well committed. And this was him leaving school and not having a backup plan was his way of really focusing on his dream. It's his way of going forward and not get distracted, because at the end of the day, in his mind, if I pursue a degree, then when it gets rough, I will back down. When it gets difficult, I will stop. As he mentioned in his email, it gets hard, it gets tough, but you don't give up. So in his opinion, if he gets a degree, well, probably if he gets tough, man, so if you have a degree, I'll look at a job. He doesn't want a job. He wants his own business. It's like you going across a bridge, cutting on the bridge and going forward, because guess what? You don't want to go back. So even if in your mind have doubts on your journey, you can't go back because you dash way and you cut on the bridge. It's like I say, we say, don't dash your stick before you cross the river.
Before you cross the water.
Stick because you're not going to cross the river. It's as simple as
That's
that.
all.
So that showed the level of commitment he had to his dream. Whether we agree to it, yes or no, he was committed. And if well might succeed, because if he's not committed, he might succeed. Because if he's not other choice, if you not a choice, you have to go. That's how we go up and we wake in the morning and we go to work because we have a choice. All the way we go provide for ourselves and our family is by working. And if we're not working, we don't have any money, we can't provide. So the work stressful, we're fed up. So we don't want to go work today, but when you think about the bills, you have to. It's what drives you. And that's what drives him. The fact that he wants to accomplish it and he has no backup plan, he's not going back. So he was committed to his dream, even though the decision to switch school wasn't properly thought out. And that is my whole take on the email situation. Mr. Miller, can I have your opinion on this situation, please, sir?
Yes, thank you. Good night again, everyone.
Good night.
Yeah, as it relates to creativity, of the 8 elements of reasoning. Just to give a brief definition before I venture more into that. Creativity is the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. In order to be creative, you need to be able to view things in a new way or form a different perspective. Few examples of creativity skills are making connection, asking question, making observation, networking, and experimenting. Yeah, as it relates to that email there regarding the student quitting school in the last 2 weeks prior to the commencement of that program. In today's society, it is highly unlikely for anyone at all to really quit a degree program 2 weeks prior to that ending of the program. So with that said, I think he did not use much creativity skill, because he based on what I've read, he does not make any connection towards his preparation. Networking, I don't think there was any or much networking established there before he made that decision with school. What I think he might think about was the experiment, because he might sit and said, okay, I'm going to try this. So basically he is doing some form of experiment. So with that said, he came to a decision to really quit school because of his experiment and what he wanted to experiment in life, because doing that at that particular time is a big thing to think about, really, because trying to gain that experience in life, because he have a different mindset as it relates to his future. Because in today's society, we always think that having a degree gonna make you be successful, gonna make you be a better person. But technically, in some way, shape, or form, persons in society is more of they want an educational background per se. but that person there quitting school think otherwise. And for some reason, I think I might agree with him in some cases because majority of the successful business person in today's society, or even, worldwide, they didn't start by having a degree initially. They create a business, they have a business mind, they come up with some business ideas to really create a business and employ persons with degree to really work for them in that company where they have established. So this person making a decision in some doing some form of experiment, hoping things will be better for him toward his experiment.
Okay. All right, Mr. Miller, well said. Thank you very much. I take your point.
Okay.
Miss Williams. All right. So, do you agree? Because in my opinion, I don't agree with him leaving school. I believe that if you're come thus far, 2 weeks, you should have just finished. But that is his opinion, that is his way of pursuing his dream, that is his motivation of doing it. So I don't really agree, but that's his way. Because I think a degree is handy and it can be useful in the future. Even if you decide to start a business, you still need a degree, the knowledge that comes with it, right? And if you're going to seek like partnership or funding or investment, persons want to know that this person have a headspace, and it's sad enough. People want to see paper. They want to see the paper. They say, "Oh, this person has gone through some kind of training." You understand?
Yes.
It's well important. So, real quickly, because there's cramp for time. Do you agree, Miss
Not
Williams?
really.
Miss Williams.
I don't agree with him in the sense of quitting school. Because as you said before, the knowledge is available because he has gone far. He's 2 weeks short of finishing. So he acquires some knowledge of some sort. However, the proof of that knowledge is not present.
Evidence, it won't be present.
So there is nothing to say I did this or I did that, which you cannot really take away the knowledge from him, but you can't just get up and quit near to the end of doing something. And if he continues, when this business reaches if this business come to any
Roadblock.
form of going up in any form, when he reaches the hard time and some difficulties and ups and downs, then he will quit just the same, because quitting is a part of him, as how he did with his degree. And secondly, why I don't agree with him, you can't decide to build a business and you don't have the necessary funding to do so. So I don't agree.
All right. Thank you very much for your point. Guys, we are currently pressed for time, so we'll end tonight's discussion right here. I do thank you for your participation, for being present, and I do take your point, and it was well said. So, on behalf of Group 8, thank you, good evening to everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your night.